What is up, woke family? It's your boy Woke Bucks, and I'm back again with another live stream. So the topic that I'll be discussing in this live stream right now is in regards to the situation that's going on right now with the Ukrainian war with Russia. Right, Russia's obviously doing its best to be able to take over Ukraine, and they're obviously going into the cities. This is the one thing we're going to talk about right now in this live stream. We need to really get this right. Putin, right, and all of the Russian troops are trying to murder the Ukrainian president, and they've at least attempted 3 assassinations to be able to take out his life. With that being said, the one thing that we have to understand is that the situation that's going on right now in Ukraine, right now, is someone in Putin who is power hungry and is trying to bring back the Soviet Union, right? He wants to bring back all of those Russian countries or all of those European countries that were once part of the Soviet Union, even including Russia, which he already owns. And Russia is obviously a big portion of land, but he doesn't want to rest until he's able to get control of Ukraine and all of the other European countries that are associated with it, right? And in my opinion, we're moving towards World War III. If you go back in history, like I said before, and you look at the patterns of the wars, you're going to see that most of these wars that were held, the United States was neutral at first, but then they had to step in. The situation that's going on right now in the Ukraine is not a joke. Even the president of the Ukraine thinks that we're going into World War III. It's going to happen. The world will never be the same again. Let me repeat this again. The world will never be the same again. Putin and his troops thought that they could just brush their way into the Ukraine because of their big size and nothing would happen to them. But as you can see, obviously the Ukrainians are putting up resistance. Even people that are little boys, like little kids that have just graduated high school or just barely are trying to finish high school now, are acting as military guys in order to be able to fend off the Russians. The situation going on there is not a joke. Let me say that again. The situation that's going on there is not a joke. It's serious. This is real life. You feel what I'm saying? They're suffering. Those people are suffering. All jokes aside, it's not a game. It's not a joke. Their lives are at risk. They're suffering. You feel what I'm saying? Now it's a situation that the president has been trying to be assassinated. Like, when it gets to that point, you know things are, all hell is broken loose. And it's only going to get worse from this point. Especially if Russia continues to invade the country like it's invading, and the Ukraine doesn't receive help from its allies, right? NATO or the European nation or the EU, they're in trouble. They're in serious trouble. So the United States is obviously going to have to put itself in a position right now to become part of that war in order to be able to ensure that they're safe, because Russia is not going to stop. Putin is not going to stop. Right? You look at the history, you can even see that even the people that are living in Russia, they're not happy with Putin. Because apparently they only have the option if they're not going to go to school, they have to join the army or military, right? So they don't really get that option to become an entrepreneur. They don't really get that option to do what they want to do in order to become successful. They have to leave the country in order to be able to pursue their dreams. That just goes to show you that they're not living in a democracy. They're living in a communistic dictatorship society where they barely have any control of anything that goes on, if they even have any control at all. That's why somebody here in the United States has a lot more privilege and a lot more rights compared to somebody in Russia or somebody in an African country, Ghana, Nigeria, and so on and so forth. Even other Asian countries, China, same way. I'll give you a prime example. Here in the United States, if you were to ever disrespect the president, the worst that will happen to you is probably somebody fights you or you get censored. You go over to their countries and you disrespect the president, you're done. You're going to be off the grid. Or you feel what I'm saying? You're completely wiped off the grid. They don't play that. There's just certain things you cannot do. They don't tolerate it. You feel what I'm saying? For them to get to the point where they're trying to assassinate the Ukrainian leader 3 times, they're trying to come for his head, 100%. It's not a game. It's not a joke. This is real life. This is what people are going through. This is reality. So when you have people that don't really learn or don't really know how to relate to other people, don't really see life outside of themselves, this is real life. This is happening in real time. If you do not know how to react in this situation, you're in trouble. Real talk, right? This is why people, especially here in this country, shouldn't be taking life for granted. Because what if the United States were to get to a point where something like this were to happen from either Canada or Mexico? What would you do now? You would be forced to leave your home. You would be a refugee. But there are people going through this on a daily basis right now for the past 2+ weeks. That's why you need to be grateful for life. You need to be grateful for the opportunities you get. And you just need to work hard and grind and become somebody. That's the goal. That's the goal. Honest, everything, that's the goal. There's just too much right now that's going on in the world for you to just be ungrateful for life. You have to keep putting in the effort every day. There's no more excuses in 2022. This is why I make these videos. I'm telling y'all the God honest truth. There are no more excuses in 2022. What are you doing to self-improve? What are you doing to get better? People are dying. How are you helping other people to become greater? How are you helping yourself to help other people become greater? What are you doing differently than everybody else? Or are you just doing the same things that you've been doing? Waking up, smoking, drinking, having intercourse, getting tattoos, wasting your life. What are you doing? And I'm not saying that those things are bad, but you got to focus on self-improvement and make your initial goal to be able to help out other people. Real talk. I can't make this up. There are people losing their lives because of this situation. You feel what I'm saying? What are you doing to self-improve? What are you doing to get better? Are you taking life for granted, or are you putting in the work to be able to become the person that God has called you to become? What are you doing differently? What are you doing differently? Real talk. What are you doing differently? Are you taking advantage of every opportunity you get, or are you just complaining about the ones that you didn't get? What are you doing? Real talk. What are you doing? Honestly, you feel what I'm saying? You got to put yourself in a position to succeed. That's not going to happen if you don't level up. That's not going to happen if you don't level up, if you don't become greater. There are no more excuses in 2022. People are dying out here. That's why you have to focus on becoming the greatest version of yourself so you can help other people. Real talk. This is what it takes. You have to do these things. You have to level up. You have to become greater. You have to become wiser. You have to become smarter. There is no excuses. There are no excuses. Honest to everything, there are no excuses. What are you doing differently in order to be able to make yourself different? Especially with people dying now. You think it's a joke. It's not a game. People are out here taking life for granted, bro, when people are dying, saving their country. This is real. This is real. This is real life. You gotta do something differently to step up in order to be able to elevate not only your life, but the lives of others around you. What are you doing? What are you doing? This is 2022. My condolences going out to the situation that's going on right now in Ukraine. But the reality of the situation is that we need to be on our purpose in order to be able to elevate and self-improve. Let this be an example. The president of Ukraine was about to get murdered on three different occasions, right? This is what happens when you have a leader that's willing to go to any extent in order to be able to achieve his ulterior motives. Putin is going to any extent possible in order to be able to achieve his ulterior motives. But it takes the right type of dude in power in order to be able to stop somebody like him. So the reality is that World War III is coming. Like I said, it's just a matter of time. The United States likes to remain neutral for the first couple of months or the first couple of weeks. Then they eventually end up there's going to be a turning point in this war between Russia and Ukraine. The United States is going to turn its head and say, we have to go help them. Listen to me right now as I say this. Once the United States jumps into this situation that's involving Russia and Ukraine, it's World War III. It's going to be known as World War III. It's going to happen within the next couple of weeks. I'm telling you right now, all jokes aside, once the United States decides to involve themselves in the situation that's going on right now in the war between Ukraine and Russia, it is going to become World War III. Mark my words. Mark my words. And it's going to happen in a couple of weeks, especially if the situation continues to evolve between Russia and the Ukraine. Right? The situation involving right now is not a game. It's not a joke. One really needs to be aware of the situation in order to be able to understand what's going on. But all I'm going to say is that when World War III starts, make sure you're spiritually prepared. Develop your relationship with God now in order to be able to elevate it, become the person you know you're meant to become. Physicality-wise, the gyms might end up closing, right? Gas prices are increasing, rent is increasing, groceries are increasing. Start trying to grow your own groceries or get the healthy food now before it all runs out. Make sure it's not genetically modified, organic. Work on your relationships with people. Build relationships with people. Do the things now. So if we ever have to go into lockdown or whatever the situation may be, or war, you're ready. You're ready for everything that's about to come to you. If you understand, it's because you're woke. If you don't understand, listen, you're not woke. This is going to be in this live stream. If you like this live stream, make sure you go spam that like button, leave comments, share this live stream with your friends, subscribe to the channel WokeEbucks, WOKEEBUKS, and tap the notification bell to get all the latest videos that I post. Patreon link will be down in the description below with all social media links. So make sure you go give those a check. Without further ado, this is going to be in this live stream. This is WokeEbucks, and I'm out, man.